welcome to the show. Coming to you live from the Boca Creative Studio in Sea Point, Cape Town. If you hear a bit of noise in the background, it's because Sea Point is very bustly and it's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day! Yes. So Sea Point is packed because everyone is trying to pretend to be happy in love. Anyway, I am very excited about my guests. Let's kick it off with an incredible singer. She was on Idols a few years ago, but we're not going to judge her for that because she's had an incredible career since then, both in a band and now as a solo artist. It is Sarah Joy! And our comedian this evening is back by super popular demand. One of the funniest comedians who happens to be female. Not one of the funniest female comedians, one of the funniest comedians in the country. It is my good friend, Shimmy Isaacs. And last but certainly not least, my special guest this evening. I'm so excited. He has had a 52-year successful career in the entertainment industry. Starts a show next week at the Baxter called Golden Oldies. He was the first female impersonator of color in South Africa back in the apartheid years, when all this sort of thing was not even legal. Please welcome the sensational, the legendary Terry Fortune. Yay! I know. It's exactly. It's so nice because I think it feels like, you know, Sarah Joy, you've been in the music industry for about 10 years already, but you, relatively speaking, are still a newbie. You're coming up with your solo album, you're doing all that, and then Terry on the other side is this legend of the music industry, and I'm so excited
this
to have
old
like not old
man.
No, you're my goals.
and
And then you've got me in the mix somewhere.
and then we have the funniest lady in the country being sandwiched by by musicians. But Terry, first of all, female impersonator. Let's get it out of the way because it's not a drag artist.
That's correct.
Yes.
There's a difference between a female impersonator and a drag artist. Only in that I think a drag artist is so much more exciting. I think female impersonator is so boring.
No, it's not. No, because female impersonator is, I mean, it must be harder to do. Drag is a performance and it's like a parody of a woman.
That's correct.
You know what I mean? Whereas your performances are much more nuanced, but also to sing in a female voice is amazing.
I guess at the time when I started, I had never seen a female impersonator or a drag artist. So my kind of feeling for what I thought it would be or what it should be is I thought I need to be as close as a natural woman. I thought that was the idea. And I know that drag artists tends to be either sometimes a send-up or it's over
The top.
Over the top. Well, over the top, maybe that's a negative. I don't think over the top. But drag artists tend to do a parody quite often of female, purely as an entertainment value. I think for me, one of the things when I started in the industry, there were so many amazingly talented persons I worked with, like I'd met Zane Adams, Talib Peterson, different artists. And I knew if I wanted to compete effectively, I needed to do something different.
Yeah.
Quite often when I get interviewed, people always say, so is there a kind of woman inside of you who was dying to get out? And sometimes I used to do that. I know they sometimes used to say to me when I was interviewed, they would say, so when you go to sleep at night, then I would say, yes, I wear women's negligee because I wanted to get the feeling. But I was talking cuck, I was just doing it because I knew that is what they wanted me to be.
Yeah.
I think for me it's important because there was this woman, when I say was, because she's not around anymore, but she worked for me for 52 years. And her name, and she is Terry Fortune. And I was actually only her manager. So I'm sitting here as her manager. She's having a scaife at home somewhere.
She's in her lingerie, lying on a...
She's in a lingerie.
lying in a, sitting in a champagne bath or something.
That's right, you know.
Exactly.
But I must confess, it's been an exciting journey. It's been an amazing journey. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot. One of the things that when I went into the industry, I wanted to travel. And that is what I achieved. I managed to work on passenger ships. I managed to work in different countries. I experienced the different cultures that people have in, and that to me was the great reward. You know.
You had a great story that I read a tiny snippet of. About wait for it. About when you were working in Rio.
Okay, that was a clean story. That wasn't a dirty one. I must confess about that story you're referring to. About 2 weeks before that particular story occurred, and before I experienced that, I got to Brazil for the first time. And I remember saying to the cab driver, please take me to a cheap hotel. And he did, a $3 hotel. I remember that a single bed, one sheet, and a single cupboard. I must confess, of course, for my $3, I really made that bed work. In fact, that's the best bed I've ever had. Half of Brazil slept on that bed.
And tell me, who are you impersonating that time?
Which Terry was that?
So that was the pre-story.
Okay.
So what occurred to me when I was laying on the cross is a different story, which happened about 2 weeks after. By that time, of course, I had made good use of the $3 bed. You know him.
Yeah.
I always remember when all my friends at that particular stage, and people in South Africa, were either immigrating to Canada or to Australia, and I thought, no, I want to be different. I'm going to Brazil. And I remember sitting on Varig airline, and I took out, and I opened, because I wanted to see, waar is Brazil? Fuck! Yo, it's in South America. Yo! I always remember that. And when I got to Brazil, I told the guy, take me to this cheap hotel, which was a $3 hotel, and I took the hotel card and I put it into my bag. And I said to him, now take me to Copacabana Beach. Because I said, you know, and it was in the 70s, and things were going woos in South Africa politically, and I thought, wow, tonight when I get off that plane, I want to sit on Copacabana Beach as the sun sets there, and all these amazing, sexy Brazilian Owens are checking me out. You know that move. So I put my bag down, and this guy came to speak to me, and I said, me no speak Portuguese, me speak English. You know, and me come from South Africa. So I'm drawing them a map of South Africa. And when I looked up again, my bag was gone. And in the bag was my passport, all my money, the most important, the hotel card. So I didn't know where I lived at all. And so for me, that was one of the most things. And also if you're a smoker. You know, so now, you know, when something goes wrong, the first thing you want to do is have a scaife. Have a smoke, not a scaife, just a smoke, you know. So that occurred 2 weeks before the story that you read. So if there's anyone out there who read that story, next week I will let you know what happened on Brazil.
But can we tell? Can
No,
we
we're
tell
not
about?
gonna tell
No,
them.
just about because the story itself that you'd written.
Oh, you mean the actual
the
story?
actual story was mad.
Okay, I was walking to Copacabana Beach one day, and I was staying at the intersection, and this woman stopped me, and she also was waiting for the traffic. And she asked me again in Portuguese, and I did my famous, you know, speak Portuguese, you know. And then she spoke English, and she said, what are you doing here? So I said, actually, you know, I'm a singer, and I'm looking for a job, maybe in a club or with a band or something. And she said, maybe I can help you. Come and meet me at the same spot tomorrow. So I did. And we got into a bus and we went to the favelas, you know, up there where and I thought, shit, where are we going? But I didn't say anything because I didn't know where we were. And we went to this place, a sort of shanty place, no, it wasn't like sort of shanty like this. It was much more like a real shanty. You know? Anyway, she took me into this room, and there was a cross lying on the floor, and she said, take off your shoes and lay on the cross. And I thought, I better do that. Because I don't know where I am, so I went to lay on the cross like this. And I remember saying, hey, God, I don't know what's going on here, but please, I know I'm not being blasphemous. I mean, I don't know what to do. Anyway, afterwards, after about an hour, she came out, and she came to fetch me, and there was women in the next room, and they had these flowers and ribbons, and they measured me from the top of my head to the ground with a color flower ribbon and cut it, then from my shoulder, then from my hip, from here and the bottom, and then they tied all those ribbons around the posy of flowers. We got back into the bus, and we went back to Copacabana Beach. Then she dug a hole and put a candle and threw some oils and stuff.
Were you at any point going, what the?
Yes, I did
It was
think,
like,
what the fuck? I mean, I almost said fuck. Yeah, I did. I did actually. I thought, whoa, what am I going to do? But I think the most significant aspect of that is I was so horrified by the whole experience that I put it out of my head. And the next morning, when I woke up, I was paralyzed from my hip down. And for about 3-4 years, in fact, for about 4 years, I had no idea about what happened to me in Brazil, because it was so horrific for me that I actually erased it from it. So next week you will hear
what
happened when I woke up in my $3 hotel room. This time I was on my own in bed, you know, and I had to make my way back to sunny South Africa. See you next week on that part. That is actually a true story. That actually happened. I can't still believe sometimes that I actually went through that. I went through a lot of other wonderful, wonderful Brazilian things.
But that's, I mean, you know, sometimes you go, it's the kind of thing I would do, okay, I'll go with the flow, see what goes. But then you think afterwards, like, what the hell was I doing? Why did I not just say, okay, stop there?
Well, I think for me, I didn't know where I was. I didn't know the place. I didn't know what would happen to me if I then said, well, no, I'm not going to go lay on a cross. Are you mad? Are you just? I'm not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I thought, I'll just lie there and I'll communicate. That's what I did say to God. Yeah, I'm not being blasphemous. I did honestly say that. So I thought, there's nothing I can do about it if I'm back. But for me, I think the most amazing part of that journey, I suppose if it was that I actually put it out of my head completely. I removed the horror of what I thought I had experienced. And only, okay, I'll just let you into a little piece. By the time I got back to South Africa and I was questioned by medical fraternity. Did you go up to the northern parts of Brazil? Did you experience that? Did you do that? Did you? And I couldn't remember. I didn't even remember for a split second that I was lying on a cross in Brazil.
Sure.
And that, dear viewers, is part one. Wait till you hear about the bed.
You need to write a book because I was reading your thing on it. In fact, follow Terry on or join friend Terry on Facebook because that's where I read about it. But with the way you wrote it, I was like, this is like a book. We need to.
We're kind of working at it.
Yeah.
We're working at it.
That will be fab.
Just.
Sarah Joy, you have interesting travel stories.
I was going to say, like, it reminds me of the time I got hit by a bus. Literally. So I got hit by a bus in Turkey. So this is all metal and screws that I have here. Yeah. Yeah. So 80 kilometers per hour in Turkey 3 years ago. And it was my sort of wake-up call in a different way to yours. I wasn't on a cross, but I felt like I was going to one. I was in Kusadasi, and I carried on with the tour because I got morphine. And you know what morphine does? It says, let's go. So I carried on.
I know what morphine can do.
Shoo. So it reminds me of my time in travel as well. And I'm a travel agent, so I've traveled a lot in the world. But it doesn't mean that we travel well. I've left my passport in Bangkok airports. I've left my passport in Mauritius and Amsterdam airport. And I managed to get through, but I definitely was my own travel agent, sorting out my own day changes. Well, that's
actually so cool. You do so many different things, because obviously, people know you as a singer, but then other people know you as a travel agent. Some people know you as a beauty therapist. Is there a crossover between...
hustling.
Yeah. No, but you know the way sometimes some people think of you as one thing and they don't realize actually there's so much.
I think it's difficult to cross over between the travel agent and the singer, except for when I won the trips, because I won trips, then I would take my guitar with, and then I would sing Mauritius and all over the world, and that's kind of got me to do both levels of my experience and my passions. But I think the main thing, Fiona, is like the travel agency got me to get the money to do the singing.
Yeah.
And we all know that it's hard to make it without money as a singer in South Africa.
Yeah, ain't that the sad truth. But let's talk about singing for you. Let's talk about the single has just come out.
Yes.
Or just in the process of coming out. And album coming out in the next couple of months.
Yes.
Tell us about, for someone who hasn't heard your singing since Idols, tell us about your...
Okay.
Where you
so
going?
I've changed my hair color since Idols. I was blonde. So a lot of people are like, I know your face, but I don't know you completely. And I'm like, maybe it's the platinum blonde that I was, and now I'm dark-haired. But so that was the first change I did. And I've actually got an EP launching. I've got 3 songs that are coming out on Friday. And that's the addition to my album, which will be out in 3 months' time. So it's actually a story told backwards about my life, which is a little secret I'm telling you and whoever's listening. But it's actually it's a story about my life, and it's about what I've gone through COVID and how I've gone through just different tiers of experiences with regards to anti-anxiety, sort of mental health awareness, as well as toxic relationships and just loving yourself, learning to love yourself. And the first 3 singles I have coming out are Eternal, Warning Signs, and Pulse. And those are describing the last stages of my life towards the end of the album. So it's backwards, it's told backwards.
Yeah. Interesting, Shimmy, when you were on a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about mental health and changes, that we've made to save ourselves from ourselves, for want of a better way of putting it. But you, and I think it comes out creatively as well, those changes.
Oh, no, definitely. I think, that's the whole point of evolving. And sort of, I think with each year that we age, I experienced that, Terry, at 40, I said to you the last time I don't give up. That
flying,
and that's a really great space to be in, because I think we censor and limit ourselves more than anyone else does. So I think that as you make these changes, you will evolve. Somebody said to me the other day, "Ay, Shami, but you mustn't forget where you came from." oh, I must don't like that, Matt. No, no, no. And I turned around and I said, sweetie, but I also don't have to stay in it. Because I've been given too much vision. And I think when we are blessed with so much vision, we cannot stay in that little space that you found me. I have to break out and conquer the world and maybe go to Brazil and find a hotel for $3 like a J. Perry.
A bed for $3.
Oh,
I
no,
wasn't
I'm
worried
there
about
for
the
I'm
room.
there
It
for
was the bed.
I'm there for the bed. It happened to me in New York, sweetie.
Or a bus and insurance.
Listen. And people, and this is the fun thing about traveling. You know, I remember my first trip to New York. You know, my stepfather gave me the most amazing advice. And I remember him saying to me, my kind, you're not there, but please don't just bring home pictures. Bring home a CV. You know, because it is. And whenever we bring a picture, we don't want to share how awful it was or the challenges we experienced. You just look at me, yeah. I'm at Empire State Building. Can't. I'm standing there, hungry. You know? And these are the things that we experience. I mean, I one time was hooked up with a guy. Yes, as gay as I am, I have also experimented on the hetero side.
Was he that bad that you
I
didn't
met
go back?
no we met here, and then he invited me when I was traveling to the States. I was going, and he then said, well, come and stay by me, and he had a girlfriend at the time in New York. So I was in Boston for 2 weeks, then I went to New York, but then I left my bank card. Ooh, Terry Skriau, my fuss. Then I left my bank card in Boston. So now I'm sitting in New York with no plastic, and no cash. So, and I'm phoning the banks, and I'm doing all kinds of stuff, but now the money, you know, back in the day, it must take 3 days for the money, but to clear from one account to another. And this is where, you know, people reveal themselves to you. And I honestly thought it was a friend. And I was explaining to him whilst he's eating, and I'm hungry too, and I'm explaining the situation, the setup with the bank card, and this was his words, girl, what you gonna do? While he's eating, Terry, girl, what you gonna do? And it's like, yo, Kazi, you know? So it was moments like that where you kind of go, God, you know. But then again, God sent somebody on my path that also knew me from South Africa, and she made contact with me, and she picked me up, and I spent 2 weeks in Philadelphia where I was treated like a queen. So then you have that side also that happens. But I think when you go through things like that, especially in a foreign country, which you cannot, there is not a single person that you know will be able to do anything. Not that they won't, they just are not able or capable at that time. And you really just learn. I mean, it gave me thick skin. Like, it really gives you thick skin.
I agree with that.
We are survivors, and that's just the
Absolutely.
important thing. I think
Absolutely.
that's probably one of the things with that we, from the streets of Cape Town, that we knew. It might be New York, but we will survive.
Oh, no,
we'll make a plan,
definitely,
and
yes.
that I think is an
If I
important
may
thing.
comments as well on that, sorry to interrupt you, sorry. But the one thing I remember is I was knocked over by a bus in the Kusadasi sort of local streets area. So I was picked up by a paramedic, and they just took me. They couldn't speak English. I couldn't speak their language. I didn't run with a passport, so they were like, passport. I'm like, well, parlez-vous? So wrong language, wrong country. And then I ended up in hospital, and Bob Marley was playing on my phone to wake my alarm to wake me up, singing "Don't Worry About a Thing." And they couldn't take it off my arm because this was the arm that was broken. So for 5 hours straight until my phone died, it was playing Bob Marley, "Don't Worry About a Thing." And I was lying there with they dislocated my arm back in. The stress was broken. They were like, "Don't worry, everything's fine." I'm like, Bob Marley says, "Don't worry about a thing." Where's my home country? Dan kan jy nie Afrikaans praat nie asseblief man. Chonga, ek sal Zulu praat, Xhosa, anything. They couldn't speak it.
Good song though for that moment. Don't worry about a thing. No, I went to London when I was 21 for 3 months and stayed 7 years, as one does. But it was
Did you meet a girl?
as one does. You're like, hey, I'm still here. But it was the same thing. Like when I'm going to stay in a hostel for a bit. You know, also, you know, similar to $3 bed. You're sitting in a big thing with these people you don't know. But it's amazing who you do. I think also when you're younger, you not more trusting, but you meet people and opportunities happen. You're like, okay, I'm going to take it. But one thing I can say, you know, you're saying you took photos to send home, and you know, I am so glad there was no such thing as Facebook.
Yes.
No social media, no camera phones, no nothing. So when I had my messy moments, and there were a lot of them every day, there was no like, yeah, look at you on Facebook.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So actually it was quite nice. I mean, I know I sound like an old auntie now, but it was quite nice having that freedom when you do that, when you do those trips without that people back home can see what you're doing.
I agree with you that when you're young, you tend to be more adventurous, but I don't think adventure only is restricted to young people. I know I'm not exactly a youngster anymore, but that doesn't mean that I cannot enjoy many of the things that many young people do. In fact, I do a lot of that quite often.
And you also do a lot for other young artists,
Well,
if
I
I
hope
may
so.
add. No, you do. No, you do. Because you don't know this, but many years ago when I started coming up in this industry, I was early 20s, coming out of AVDA, and I was getting into theatre. And Terry played quite a significant part in my young artistry life back then. And it's just simple things we would have conversations after a show and little things like that. But I think, Terry, what you have to realize is I vicariously live through you. I do. Because I know a little bit about your history, and I could not imagine what you've had to endure as a performer of color back then, and what you have done, the footprints you have left, was able for someone like me to come as a very openly gay colored girl from Woeste van alle plekke en gekekrike.
Ek is van Swellendam.
Nee girl, jy's droër as ons.
When I heard that Shimmy was going to be on the show this evening, I thought, wow. One of the things I always remember also, in fact, I wrote about it a couple of months ago, is that she's from Worcester. And you know, some of the most talented persons come from Worcester within the arts, within the education. And there are so many people. And I thought, I wonder if there's something magical. Because when I was a kid, when I was a child, we used to spend all our school, our July holidays and our December holidays at my aunt in Worcester. And I always think, I wonder if I picked up something there.
Even me.
In Worcester. Yes,
I
did pick up quite a few things, but
And on that happy note,
no.
we are going to have a short break, and we will be back with my fabulous guests just after this.
Maurice Merlingson's mind swirled with ideas.
So, what's the story, Maurice?
But it was never the right time to share his work. The demand was only a distraction.
Darling, just share? Dad, can I have a story?
With innovation as his only destination, he set off for new discoveries, a land of uncharted stories. No idea was worth sharing until he had redefined perfection. But the perfect discovery had left him behind.
Hey, you look like you've been on a journey. So what's your story?
For exceptional ideas are meant to be shared.
Coming to you live from. Has the microphone just gone on? Welcome back. From the top. Welcome back to Fiona, Furey and Friends. Coming to you live from the Boca Creative Studio in Sea Point. If you're just tuning in, my fabulous guests this evening are super singer Sarah Joy. Hilarious, gorgeous Shimmy Isaacs. And musical legend Terry Fortune. So I was trying to talk both Sarah and Terry before, Sarah Joy and Terry, into singing, and I thought I'm actually just going to put you on the spot. Would you like to sing us your new single?
Wait, why didn't you ask me?
Why
I was
can't the
gonna
lady
surprise
from
you.
Worcester?
I was going to surprise you with it later.
Worcester was a lot further than Swellendam from Cape Town, from the
I
other
was
side.
going to surprise you, Shim, for later. I was going to be different with you, though. What is one of the Come Dine With Me South Africa years ago? There was she was such a teacher. She was on, and there was a comedian on, and she was drunk one night. And she goes, "You're a comedian,
Sure.
So I was going to. It's become like my favorite thing every time I see a comedian. So I'm not going to ask you to sing. I'm going to ask you to comede.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm going to sing then. I'm going to sing for my supper, but yeah, hopefully that's coming. So I'm going to do the song for Mr. Terry, because apparently your birthday was recently, in January. When was it?
On the 12th of January, I
Capricorn.
Capricorn.
Okay. So I'm not going to do a song from my EP because that will be launching on Friday, and you guys can check that out on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, all the rest. But I'm going to be doing a happy birthday song from Mr. Marilyn Monroe. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Terry. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, baby.
I feel as if I am the president you've just signed for.
You
All
should
I
be.
needed you to do was to stand there with that white dress.
I was going to.
That's right, and it blows up and then...
Scared about the drinks.
Oh, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. Okay.
Mr. Kennedy.
Right. I remember when you asked me about female impersonation and what did I choose to sing. I remember when I went to London, and I knew that I can't go to London as an African and do Shirley Bassey. I mean, how can you go to England and London and try to impersonate them? I knew I had to do this. Indonga zama kwenkwe zokukelengla telio kube kube sikonga ia jikalama wenesia hamba jikalama wenesia hamba jikalama wenesia hamba jikalama wenesia hum 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 marimakeba.
That must have gone down well.
It made
No,
me...
serious. No, I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, like in
Yeah.
London, that kind of thing. People
It did. It made me different. It made me different to the hundreds of female impersonators and drag queens, because I was an African and I was a proud African, and that was an important thing. So, for me, I loved London, and I hope that London loved me at that time. And it was
Terry, could you
wonderful.
impersonate me?
Happy birthday to you.
Hey.
No, I couldn't. Maybe years ago, but not now.
What are you going to be singing, actually, speaking of singing, on the show? Because you've got a show coming up at the Baxter.
That's right, and the show is really important to me. It was something that I've always wanted it. You know, during the COVID, this particular period was extremely difficult, I think, for everyone in the country, everyone in the world. And I think for us persons who are older, it was really challenging. I remember the night when the president said, if you're older than the age, if you're over the age of 60, stay inside. And I thought, fuck man, I'm 70 already, so now I'm in cuck. You know, and I was really worried. And I remember I was so paranoid. In fact, if there was, like, if they would give an award for somebody who was the most paranoid, me. I remember going to the shop, you know, to Pick and Pay, and I'm handing over my card to pay for it, you know, and the sleeve of my jacket went onto the counter. And I thought, yo, the germs is going to go on there. And I came home, and truth God, I'm not lying. I came home and I hung my jacket outside for a week. And then I thought, I wonder if I can put it in the cupboard. But if I put it in the cupboard, that might infect all my clothes. Because we didn't know. And that, I think, was the difficulty for us persons who were of an older age. I know that many of the young people also, in fact, everyone went through that challenge. But for us, it was really difficult. And quite often then our families then separated us and said, Pa, you must stay on one side. You mustn't sit here because maybe we can infect you, Pa. You know, so it was those kinds of things. So it was really a difficult period for all of us. I think for all of us, but for us persons who were of an older age. And then, as we know, every time when you opened Facebook or social media, every day, someone that you knew had passed on. And you thought, yo, maybe tomorrow I'm going to be on Facebook and everybody's going to say, yo, there, he's also gone. And I thought, fuck, only for one day they do it, then the next day yesterday's news. And that is actually a fact. Us autopies were just one day's news. And I think, fuck, I spent 52 years in the industry and they give me one day only on Facebook.
But you
but
know,
I've recovered.
But do you know the sad thing is you almost get nervous. And now you see, like, even still, like you see a picture of someone on Facebook, someone posts a picture of someone, you go, oh, no, not that one. Then you go, happy birthday. Oh, thank God. You know what I mean? Because you have that moment where you go, oh, shit. Yeah. So it is, we just like, I suppose now we're getting a bit better, but it was. I mean, it put the fear of God into all of us, really.
Especially when the omnibus came. I thought it called
Omnibus.
the omnibus. Omnibus of COVID, you know? December,
Yeah.
the Omicron, what's it called?
Omicron. I
Omnibus.
think
I
omnibus.
call it the omnibus.
I was going to say, no, go, that's Muvanga. Where you now? Omnibus. It's
See with the
Muvanga.
line.
That's an interest. That must be a new variant.
It is, yeah.
Bus.
On the Sundays.
We're all jumping on the bus. Yeah, the COVID
Goodbye.
bus. So, Chims, what did you? So obviously COVID started. How was online comedy for you?
I didn't rush to social media like many comedians did and try to. I'm a number one. I'm a Christian, so anything that I kind of go through, I immediately go onto my knees and I pray. And I kind of really wanted to just get inside, you know. And I think just at the age again, and I don't want to sound like those people, but it is important to say that I think the need for wanting to stay in people's faces, that I don't have that. And I really wanted to use this time. None of us knew what was going to happen. So it was a very confusing time, and I really wanted to get quiet. And I was busy finishing a film I was writing at the time as well. So I wanted to get quiet, and I wanted to, for myself, internally make sense of what was going on. You know, I couldn't be on the frenzy like out there. I'm also just not that kind of performer. I'm quite a serious performer. Yes, I might be a stand-up comedian, but I'm very serious about my craft. And that was really, I think, one of the best decisions I made was to not put myself out on social media and try to kind of compete and stay on top of things. And I came out of it, I must say, my relationship with my family is beautiful. It's I stayed with my sister and her family. We are the closest we've ever been. You know, people's masks fell off, they became vulnerable. People became a little bit more honest with their needs and their wants. And that for me was a beautiful space to move into, was how can we as a family be okay out of this, as opposed to just me.
Yeah, that's so nice. Because there was a lot of that in the beginning. Everyone, I mean, all over the world, not just in South Africa, but everyone. Even like Chris Martin was doing his thing on the piano, and everyone was, join me, everyone. And that lasted a few weeks, and then it was just like enough.
Later in the year, I did start doing virtual corporate stand-ups. That was great. I mean, I have a film and acting background, so I think when you are skilled like that, it wasn't foreign to me. I know how to work with the camera, and I did really well. I was very blessed. I was very blessed to be consistently working throughout lockdown. I was teaching online. I was teaching some Canadians online, so I was able to make a couple of dollars.
Me. Some Russian.
What were you teaching?
Oh, so I was teaching comedy screenwriting. So we spoke about comedy, and my one writing partner, who is Canadian on the other side, set this up for me. And I was able to make money and pay my bills, and I think you also just do whatever you can. I mean, the pandemic really showed you what you are capable of. I mean, come now. I was able to finish things that I thought about, and I think that for me was the wonderful thing, was the mental breakthrough, was I was able to finish things. I just wanted to finish.
That's very hard as an artist to do.
Well, I'm quite disciplined.
I'm very hard to finish things off.
It is hard, but it comes with dedication, commitment, and discipline. And because I've been blessed with a gift greater than myself, not by myself, but by my higher power, I have to honor that gift. And how do I honor that? Is that I show up in the best form possible to deliver the message, whether it's teaching, whether it's comedy, whether it's screenwriting, whether it's producing. What I am able to do is God-given, not man-made.
Yeah, that's true. Now listen, I taught as well. Yeah, I taught. Homeschooling.
I was homeschooled my whole life.
Listen. Everyone came out of the pandemic with like, oh, I realized stuff. I realized something. Teachers should be paid more. I was like, you want to know saints on this planet? Teachers. I went back when the schools opened. I'm not going to lie. I was like the Pope. The Pope goes to a new country. The Pope gets off the plane. The first thing he does, he kneels down and he kisses the ground. Right. I was like that in the school car park. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Take the kid. Like screeched away from the school. No, I mean, I love my child more than life itself. But honestly, teachers.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was homeschooled my whole life, so my mom can take her hat off for that.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
my whole life. I grew up on 8 Reserve, so I grew up in Swellendam, one of them, and we were always too far away from the nearest town, and we moved every 2 years because of my dad's job. So I was homeschooled my entire life from my mom. And my mom was also one of the biggest gay activists in South Africa, and she was a working nurse and surgical nurse, and she operated on the first gay sex change from male to female in Africa when it was illegal as well. So similar to your experiences with, like being kept away from people and held back from society, my mom operated on that, and she had police banging at the door when she was operating on that sex change. And she kind of brought me up in the world to know that like my standing isn't who I should be, but who I am. Yeah. And I think that was very important to me in growing up.
Sure, that's amazing. And it's amazing actually when you talk about that as well. Like in South Africa, we don't realize we are actually fortunate to be ahead of a lot of the rest of the world when it comes to surgeries. I mean, if you look at the first heart transplant, the first like things like that they're only just getting that, transition surgery right in other countries now.
I think we are extremely blessed, as you say, that we were privileged to have an upbringing where our parents actually taught us so much, which now, when we are older, we can benefit from. Absolutely. And I think that's such an important thing, specifically also for persons of color, who we had to go through so many challenges those years, and that we could still come out smiling and still come out with some form of knowledge is such a blessing, and I think that is an important thing.
So Terry, why do you think people want to leave this country? No, and it's a serious question. I mean, I have a couple of friends who's making plans to immigrate, you know, New Zealand, Canada, and so forth. And it is a question I ask myself, you know, is why?
I think it's because they are uncertain and they are scared of the future, and because they do not have enough confidence within themselves to know that, irrespective of what the future is, they are strong enough to be able to cope with it. And I think that's some of the reasons. The excuses that they give, yes, it's better for my children, etc., etc. I also, you know, years ago I went to Australia, and some friends invited me to their home for a weekend. And I was standing outside with the mother of the guy, and she was from Wynberg. And I remember, and for me, it always stuck in my head. And she was saying she had her own home in Cape Town. And then when her husband died, her son said, Mom, come and stay with us in Australia. And this woman was so incredibly lonely and so sad, because everything that she had known was no longer there. And I thought, I always remember that, and I always say to people, don't go immigrate to Canada or Australia. I said, and then you stand outside like this woman. And I remember her son, in Cape Town where she lived, she could buy a packet of cigarettes and smoke as much as she wanted to. Here, when she was in Australia, they said, Mom, you know, we don't approve here in Australia of smoking.
The grass is
You
not
know,
always
that
greener.
kind of things. And they were giving her like 2 cigarettes a day. In fact, of course, you know me. I said, well, hey, take my packet, you can have my packet, don't tell them.
Sure.
You know. So it's those kind of things, I think, why people make choices. I do also concede to the fact that every single person has the perfect right to decide for themselves what they want their lives to be.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we make the right choices and sometimes we don't. The only thing that we need to do as one gets older, and I think that's the wonderful thing about being older, is that you do not have regrets about the choices that you made, and that you live with it.
The problem with Australia is there are so many rules. Like, they're hectic. You think like they seem like, oh, Australian, they seem so laid back, they're always drunk. No. You go, the first time I went to Australia, I went to Sydney, and it was actually to Gay Pride. I was supposed to be DJing, then changed my mind. And I'd borrowed a friend's bike, and I thought I'm going to have just a little ride around town. So I'm cycling along, and this cop pulls me over, and I was thinking, like, what have I done? I'm on the right side of the road. I was like, yeah. Pull over, yes. He goes, you're not wearing your helmet. And I was seriously, I was like, well, what are you going to do? Tell my mum, I'm not wearing a bike helmet. I'm going to fine you $600. I was like, what? Do you not have criminals to catch? Obviously, you know, coming from here. And he was like, no.
They caught them on the border
No,
patrol.
mate. Yeah, you're the one breaking the law right now. And I was like, oh, fuck, okay. I'll just push. I'll push the bike. No, I'm not giving. Are you giving me cheek? No, I'm not, officer. Sorry, sir. Push the bike back, walking.
That is
Seriously.
very true. I must say I prefer the police here than the police in anywhere else.
Yeah.
No, because here I can still go, I'm fit to, man, you must know, man, ish, you know, like, you know, and it's small things, because I was pulled over also in New York once for cycling on the wrong side, and also they wanted to fine me, and then the comedy came out in me, and I just started to click my way out of there, and just quack. And you know, and they love that. Oh my gosh, she's from Africa. Oh gosh, she must be hungry. Come on, honey, we get you some McDonald's, girl. And you know, you just play the part like, yeah. But it's moments like that that just makes me go, oh, I miss my country. You know, because the rapport that we have with the law here is very different to the report
Yeah, agreed.
that they have with the police on that side,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, because the cops will laugh at me. I got
Yeah.
pulled over a week ago, as a matter of fact. And it was the day before I got my car, the license disc. Ooh, and I'm popping. Because I see them going, and I'm popping. I'm like, oh, and as I rolled down the window, the cop went, no, man, I must go and write the lady from Arends Fly, man. No, man. And I was just, because in America, nobody would know who I am.
Exactly.
So yeah, the celebrity status helps. No, and I got off. He never checked the desk. He wanted pictures. I was like, sure. Who else? Call you. Yes, call the colleagues. I'm here all day. Come.
No. Listen, when I was with first started my radio career, I was on Heart, and I had a whole lot of tickets outstanding. And one of the other presenters actually got arrested at work because he had so many outstanding, and they came and fetched him, and I was like, oh, I remember that. Anyway, so I was doing my show, and suddenly I see these officers knocking on the glass, and I thought, oh my God, no. And you know, the worst things go through. I was like, I'm going to leave. There's going to be dead air for the next 2 hours. Fiona Furey has left the building. I was like, oh no shit. It's like, hi officer, I'm so sorry about the tickets. And he goes, no man, Fiona, we heard you on air. We just wanted to come and say hi. I was like, oh shit. Can we have a photo? Yes, you can have a photo.
I must say, Idols got me out of that situation a few times.
Oh really?
Yeah. No, they were. I just said to them, "Look, I know I'm over the limit, officer, but you know, you won't see me on TV anymore."
Shit.
It got me off the hook.
How was that experience for you?
Idols.
Well, yeah. I mean, how was the experience then leaving Idols, and then you know you kind of
life.
now it's life. So how's that transition been for you?
I think it was pre-COVID, so I can't remember much before that. But like it was difficult. I think there was a lot of look. Idols it's a talent show. It's an entertainment show. It's not a talent show. It's not a singing show. So I think that people get that wrong a lot of times, and I found I'm an empath, so I feel a lot for other people's emotions. And for me, like the wooden mic situation, the fact that the wooden mic contestants didn't know that they were wooden mic until they were on the show, really got to me, personally. And they really wanted to create more of a story behind my life, and I couldn't understand that for TV value. But for me personally, like I'm not going to pretend my mom or dad has cancer or someone has got a story to tell if they don't. And it was difficult to come off that because I lost because I didn't create a story.
But did you enjoy the experience?
I always enjoy experiences in life. I think I don't ever regret that, but I think that it was difficult to come out of that knowing I could have gone further if I had created more of a fictitious story about myself.
Like a heart, you know, get your heartstrings going kind of.
Yeah.
Did you find it quite an anticlimax coming off? Because I think so many people get quite far in Idols and then they like, especially kids, you know, a lot of, you know, the kids who won or came second or that, and then they kind of think they're going to have this huge career and then it falls flat. And you get a sense that I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Idols. I think it's always the person who comes sort of second or third has a better chance at a career than the person who wins. Because the person who wins is now molded into something who they're not necessarily creatively. You've got this little paint by numbers pop star who you're going to be forced into.
Absolutely.
But it forces you into this sort of thing. But I kind of get the sense a lot of people a year or two later, when things didn't happen, felt a bit flat. I've met so many and interviewed so many over the years.
Definitely, I think it definitely depended on your sort of your state of standard within the show. So if you felt flat, it was kind of maybe because you gave a different interpretation of who you are. They wanted me to be the Lady Gaga of South Africa back then because I was blonde. And I definitely didn't want to be anything but myself. Even now, people say you look like Amy Winehouse, and I'm like, that's great, but I'm me. Yeah. And I think that would fall flat if I was holding up a different impersonation of who I am. Yeah. For me, it was very good because my fans actually stood by me because they said, well, you didn't fall into the very much easy sort of controlling demographic that can control you within South Africa, which is unfortunately the media, and you can be controlled into something that you aren't. And if you do that, you can last for a minute, but you won't last for a second or an hour.
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
true.
also the thing that frustrates me, sorry Terry, the thing that frustrates me about voting, anything voting shows in South Africa, all of the talent voting shows, is voters get it wrong. And it pisses me off.
Okay.
Because
don't
like, I'll look at
understand.
someone, I'll go, they are so talented. And then people vote for some little, and you go, no.
I don't have SMSs either, babes. So.
Yeah, no, I just get so cross that the most talented ones don't go forward that I just don't watch because I'm like, I don't know who these people think they are.
Now, that particular area where you were talking about persons who talent shows and things like that is an area that I think has been neglected. Insofar as I'll tell you the area, and that's the area that I have paid a lot of attention to younger persons. Quite often, in fact, most of the time, the persons who come to my home to ask me their advice is persons who've either won idols, they've won one of the talent shows, and the challenge for them is, where do they go from there? And for me, is the kind of thing where I sit with them and try to make them see what the possibilities they can go for and how they need to always take whatever they've achieved one level up. Because there's a lot of attention paid to persons who sing average or perform average or have not succeeded in a talent show. But what do you do when you actually are successful? You've got a brand, and what do you do with that brand? So many of them sit and they say, I don't know, what must I do now? I've won idols, I've won South Africa's Got Talent, but what do I do? And it's those kinds of issues and challenges that I think the arts has. And I think that is something which we sometimes tend to overlook. There's a lot of sort of going into townships, or a fair amount, and training young people and encouraging with the arts. But what does those persons do who won contests? You know, from one thing to another thing, something which I learned also now recently. Somebody came around to me and they said that they are doing Miss South Africa wheelchair, people in wheelchairs. And I thought, first of all, I'm not wild about this Miss South Africa, but it's their project. And I sort of allowed, and we had several meetings at my place discussing the entertainment, etc. And the day of this particular function, which was at Artscape, and I saw these 10 women in wheelchairs and the kinds of challenges that they had, one as female and two in wheelchairs, made me realize how significant those kinds of contests are, where it gives people a voice to express what it's like. And that taught me something. And you know, when you get to a certain age, you think, no, I know everything. But that day when I saw that and I realized, I was so cocky about, oh, Miss South Africa in a wheelchair. I mean, really, you know. But then when I watched these ladies, and I thought, wow, man, wow. You know, and so many of them had succeeded and faced those challenges. They studied, they went into their communities, they went to places, and they made people understand that I might be in a wheelchair, but it doesn't mean that I haven't got a brain.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
I agree with that.
those kind of things. Anyway, I jumped from one thing to the next.
That's absolutely fine.
I do agree with that, and I think that that's overlooked in a lot of aspects of like normal TV and what we have in South Africa nowadays, especially with talent shows, because I wasn't even aware there was a Miss South Africa wheelchair. So to give you an example, that for me it's overlooked in the sort of our general aspect of media in the sense of what is shown on TV. And I think that's where we need to focus.
I also find with these, I don't have an issue with it, but maybe it's a peeve thing that I have with these entertainment talent shows. I like your clarity on that, because I think it is very true. Because someone like me who is trained, I sometimes get offended. You know, when you have people that on a whim got into the industry, you know, and then you have people like us that's been around for many, many years but actually trained. And I find that is what is lacking in these competitions, is you do not have actual experts that know how to deal and how to get these kids ready for what happens afterwards. I have a lot of people that contact me. I've won this competition. What do I do next? And this is what I always say. You go study if you can.
I agree.
You have to go study, because what you're looking for, I can't give you. You've got the talent, you've got this, but I cannot teach you the business. You have to go study, and I don't just mean university or college. I started at workshops before I got my scholarship. I took every 50 rand I made as a waitress back then, and I would go to an acting workshop, I would go to a voice workshop, I would go to an improv workshop, and I was amongst trained people. And that really gave me the foundation, because once you've got that solid foundation, then you can handle the rejection. And I think today's the generation of today, with these shows, they want instant gratification. They want instant fame. They want instant money. He's been in the business for 52 years. I've been in the business for 20 years. It's no picnic, because I'm not here. My plan is not to be here today and gone tomorrow. I'm planning to have a longevity, in this industry. But you have to train, guys.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly reading. If I'm writing scripts, I've got to go do research. I've got to do the work.
I agree with that. Especially with regards to business acumen as well. I think that's the one thing people forget in the industry is, like, regardless if you're doing acting, singing, dancing, you need to have your business acumen. Because you are a brand. You are a business. Who you sit right now is a business. So if you don't have that, no one's going to sell you if you don't sell yourself. And who are you? And then you've got to know that, Yeah, exactly. Value yourself,
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was actually going to say that as well. I mean, you get these, especially with singers who are very moderately talented, who have amazing careers, but they work really, really hard at the business side. And then you get people who are like amazing talent, but they're like, I can't get a job. Not doing it right. It's like 90% business, and they need to teach that, though. They need to teach young people that. And also, please, if you're 21 years old, you're just getting in, don't get yourself a manager and be like this person. Don't be like, do not be like, come on, manager. I've had a few of those already on the show, and no.
I listened, and I totally agree with the viewpoints that you've shared, but I also do know that to be young is magic, insofar as I know when you're 20, 21, first of all, you think you're invincible and you're going to live forever. So I do appreciate when that instant fame comes, they do not fully understand that for them to continue in this kind of industry takes a lot of hard work. But I concede to the fact, you're young, man. It's cool. Go out there. It's Valentine's night tonight. Go out there and have a ball. Tomorrow you can get up and do all the things that you want to do, but you also need to live and have a good time. Because when you get to the age where I'm like my age, where I'm blessed to still be able to sit here, I must still want to be able to look back and remember that $3 bed. Again, what I'm saying is, I must have had a good time, irrespective of what all the negative things that happen. And I think that is an important thing, that one mustn't overlook the fact that when you're young, enjoy it, because you're going to be old for the rest of your life.
That is very true. And on that happy note, we are going to have another break. We will be right back talking about, I'm actually going to try and get you to sing. Will you sing? No. I'm going to try and strong arm some singing going on and some comeding as well. So do stay tuned. We will be right back in about 15 minutes.
Hey, Mercedes.
How can I help you?
How about a car for those who set fire to the sound? Who cruise around town just to cool things down?
welcome back. Welcome back to Fiona, Furey and Friends. Coming to you, like I said, live from the very hot Boca Creator Studio in Seapoint, Cape Town. Thank you, guests.
Thank you. Ooh. Oh, are we on? Are we on? Are we on?
Hello.
I need to say, Fiona, I don't know if it's
Are we
I
on?
am. When Fiona invited me to come along this evening, and I thought, but I must tell you, I am delighted
Thank
that
you.
you asked me to be here, and I'm so glad it got me out of the house. You know, all of us have these sorts of challenges, and I think February is that kind of month that we have it. And when this afternoon, I thought, oh no. But now that I've been here, I think, shit, I'm so glad she asked me. And I'm so glad I said yes.
Thank you for coming as well. Because I know, I mean, it's funny how many people say that. That, oh, I didn't want to come. And then they have a good time.
Yes.
Yeah. There we go.
Especially on Valentine's Day. Thank you for being my dates, guys.
Oh, you are welcome. My poor husband's sitting at home. It's our wedding anniversary. And I'm like, yes.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congrats.
How long has it been?
8 years.
Oh.
That is a lifetime.
Oh, God.
So has
I
your
don't even want a
husband-
medal. I want a trophy. I want a trophy when I get home. Like
the middle
the,
tomorrow
You
morning.
like the
have-
FA Cup trophy.
You have a hope.
Does your husband still have his spine?
That's
That's most what happens when you get married. Either you lose the ability to dress yourself, or, you know, like my mother dresses my father. He has no idea what size he is.
Oh, really?
No. Choice a large. My Yannick Blanf, you say choice a large.
Wow.
I
One
can't
size
tell my
only.
husband he's a large. He'll get very upset. He'll be like, no, darling, you're still a medium, I promise.
No, and I don't ask him, Dad, do you want milk or I have to ask, Mommy, does he take sugar? No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Then he'll go, I don't.
No, mine's the opposite. Mine's like, stubborn. I'll be like, would you like this? No, don't tell me what to do. Sure, make your own dinner then. So it's actually a nice way of doing it, because you're like, I think you should have this for dinner. I will make my own dinner. Yes, you will. You know, don't want to be cooking.
Are
Listen,
you married
me?
or
Sorry?
Dennis met iemand?
Nee, ek is nie married nie.
don't
It is
do it.
Valentine's Day, so I'm just like,
I'm
you know.
clearly not. No, I'm not married. I'm not single. I'm not divorced. I'm very much available. Hi.
Lekker, Jay.
This is my big moment. I always
Well,
thought,
not only.
maybe I made the wrong choices in life.
Terry,
Hi.
Terry, I was there a couple of years ago. I was
Nas is
there.
hier so.
No, listen, because when it comes to women, for some reason, when you get to a certain age, they want to know, so you're going to have kids? I mean, I know you that way, but are you going to adopt? Or
So young.
no, I don't want.
They're not for. Listen, I was talking about this on the show a few weeks ago. They're like Marmite, Shami. You either love them or you hate them. If you don't think it's for you, do
I prefer
not
Oxo.
do it.
Actually, you don't
No,
get
no,
Marmite
but it's like-
anymore.
Where's
believe
Oxo
they
gone?
can
It's like, you
still
know, like
do it.
Marmite, either you love it or you hate it. That's
I
like
love
children.
kids, though. I
Other
do.
people's.
I love kids, but I just.
It's nice to
yeah.
give them back.
I'm
Fish
too
face.
selfish.
No, it's not. They own you. They own you. Listen, speaking of, is your husband a large? I cannot say. I mean, when we were first dating. No. When we were first dating, and he's going to kill me for telling the story. We went to the waterfront. He wanted to buy a shirt or a jacket or something like that. So he tries something on and he says, do you think it makes me look fat? So, of course, I was like, no, it's all the cake you eat that makes you fat. And he did not talk to me for like a week. He was like, how could you? I was like, it was a joke. It was a joke. It was really funny. No, that was not funny. That was really hurtful. He went and told my mother that I'm telling you, I was like, okay. That joke fell very flat. So anytime when you said you ask, is your daddy a large or medium? I'm nope, you're a small, you're very petite. He's not. He's not petite at all. You've met him.
Yes.
What size am I? Tiny, very small. Don't stand sideways, I can't see you.
I bought a 13 to 14 last week, Terry. Yes, I must have started playing tennis.
For your man.
Huh? What?
For Vino.
For me?
Okay,
I'm a
okay.
13 to 14 by Mr. Price Sport. Guys. All I want to say is if you want to have a clothing item lied to you, go to Mr. Price.
That's
Show
so true.
me when I got there. And I was looking at the shirt, you know, it's white and it's not 10, it's and I'm like, no, man, that will fit me, man. I'm sure it will fit me. It looks like it will fit me. And I took it off. Didn't even try it on. I'm that confident. I didn't try it on. And I took it home. It was a 13 to 14. And then I put it on Terry and it fit me. Whoa. Terry, it fit me. But remember again, it's Mr. Price. It's not from China.
I've got to tell you, you see this shirt. So I saw it online, you see, so from China. Yeah. So I thought,
Where's
oh, I
Stockholm?
love all these buttons. So I bought it. And I bought a large, something which, of course, I then realized when a Chinese large and our large is too different. I got this in November of last year. I've been dieting since last year till now so that I could fit in it tonight to be here.
Woo.
So I know
But
about
on
that.
your body, the shirt will
It
be.
looks
But this, I
fabulous.
paid for it.
Yes.
China off the knee. You know, that's important. Before I know we're going to leave, there was something I'm sure that I'd like. This particular month is Gay Pride. And I know that so often we tend to only focus on all the negative aspects because we say there's so many challenges that so many people go through. But I think that we also need to remember that it's a pride. It's something to be celebrated. From where I came from those decades
Absolutely.
ago to where we have come now, I think it's something that we deserve to celebrate. So I can't wait to walk down this road here in this lurex dress and tell them,
And these shoes?
am
What
I
size are you?
proud?
Fabulous.
What
There's
size are you,
the
babe?
shoes.
A perfect example. Love it. Love it.
Fabulous. Speaking of that, though, I mean, in the 70s, when you came out as a female impersonator, as a gay man of color, when probably wasn't even legal to be gay in those days
Okay.
in South Africa. That's why stand up with a target on your back.
Okay. Often I also get asked that, and I always reply, do you think that we invented being gay? We're not the first persons. It's always been around. This was around
Freddie Mercury.
on stages when men used to... it has got nothing to do. People always thought, it must have been very difficult in the 60s to be gay. And I said, no, it wasn't. I knew I wasn't the only person in the whole planet. I knew there was a million other people, you know.
Yeah.
So,
But being difficult, what I meant
But it
difficult
was
is like
difficult.
as a performer, because then it's not like you can hide it away.
no, but I also think that was the challenge. Because I needed for people, for persons, when they're sitting out there, not to see that it was a man or what his sexuality. I needed them to be able to say, yay, I'm saying it in Afrikaans, yay, jy's 'n moffie, maar God, jy's fucking goed toch?
Yeah.
And it was that which was important, that they saw beyond the makeup, that they could appreciate the talent and the hard work that came with. So yes, it was very difficult, but I also knew my public. I knew the people had their prejudice, but it was up to me to be able to show them. It's got nothing to do with who I sleep with or what I like to do. It's how could I do this for you? And that
And
was
also, you
important.
kick doors down for up-and-coming gay artists coming along behind you.
I think that's an important thing. I think that for all of us in our career, we also need sometimes not only to kick the door down, but we must leave a window open so that they can somehow also see that there is a future for them.
Yeah.
And that is the important thing.
Very true. Very true. We are going to wrap up in a minute, but just before we do, I want to talk very briefly about the show at the Baxter.
That's why I'm here.
Yes.
On the 26th, on Saturday, the 26th of February, at the Baxter, in the gardens, the golden oldies will be celebrating and taking back the pride that so often is overlooked with older people. People always say, you know, those old toppies, they were fabulous in their days, but they don't have any purpose anymore. They're not good enough to be part of today's. And what we are going to be doing on the 26th Saturday of February at 5 o'clock, please book at Web Tickets, note, Web Tickets. The Golden Oldies, all the artists on that particular program is over the age of 60. 10 frontline singers, 4 band, a DJ, and an MC. All of them are over the age of 60. In fact, the youngest member is the MC. He's 64. All the other persons are in their 70s, and we have 2 persons in their 80s. All of these persons have spent more than 50 years in the industry. And on the 26th of February, we are taking back our pride and letting all those young people know we're not yesterday's heroes. We are today's, and we are the future.
Who else? Yes. Who else can we expect with you?
I have a particular lady friend, she's 85, her name is Zelda Benjamin. Zelda has been singing since she was a youngster. She's been in the industry for more than 70 years. Wow. She's a jazz singer, and she can still, you know, I was saying to someone on Wednesday past, we had a photo shoot, and I watched these 2 ladies. They're both in their late 70s, and they had a hip operation a couple of months ago, and I watched them. They were beautifully dressed, and I watched them as they walked through that foyer of the Baxter. And the one lady pushed away the guy who wanted to help her, because she wanted to walk with pride and let us know, don't think because I can't walk easily that I can't get on that stage and I can't sing. And that to me was so vitally important. And that is important. That is why you must come on the 26th of February, where picnic on the garden and the lawns of the Baxter Theatre.
And music, I'm guessing, is going to be golden oldie music.
It's going to be golden oldie music, but it doesn't also mean that this is an old age function. No, not at all. This is for everyone in Cape Town to come and celebrate, to show people we are important, and we are not only your mama and your papas, and we're not only your grandpa, we are also performers, and we can pick up a microphone and we can sing to you.
Fabulous. So that is Terry Fortune. You can catch Terry at the Baxter. Follow you on Facebook as well.
That's right.
Friend Terry on Facebook, actually, because his Facebook posts are brilliant. Every time I read one, I'm like, please write a book. They're just so good. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I'm so glad you came. Shimmy Isaacs, where can we find you?
Okay, so I'm doing in the month of Pride. I've got 2 stand-up shows happening. On the 16th, I'll be at 021 alongside Eugene Matthews, who is hilarious. So not just straight people, but everyone must come out, you know. And did you catch there? Not just straight people, but everyone must come out. You know, and then on the 25th, so this is just before Terry's show. So this is actually a lekker package with ons vir julle gee.
That's right.
Yeah, you gay people out there, you gay people.
25 and 26.
Yes. Okay. The ones with pronouns are also welcome. So on the 25th, I will be at 2 Eves, which is in Kloof Street, 021, The Castle, which is in Castle Street. That's right. Actually, yeah, daarbij Zonnebloemse kante. So 16th, I will be 021. 25th, I will be at the 2 Eves. And it's a wonderful queer lineup. So please come out and support myself and Terry, and of course Sarah as well.
Sarah Joy, where can we find music coming out? Singles, album is still coming?
Yes. So I've got for the happy month of Gay February. So I've got this month I've actually got an EP coming out on the 18th of Feb, which is on Friday. So you guys can download all my singles from my new EP, which is actually from my album called Serendipity. That's the album's name. And I've got all my 3 singles coming out on Friday, which is the 18th of Feb, and it'll be on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, the rest. And yes, girl, yes. And then I will definitely be at Castle, because I live in Castle Street, girl. So can I come to the Castle? I'll be performing at my EP launch, which will be coming up in the next 2 weeks. And then my album launch will be in the next 2 months. So I look forward to seeing everybody there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming on. It's been such a lovely evening. Thank you very much. Thank you
Thank you,
for
Fiona.
coming. Shims,
Thank you.
always love having
Thank
you
you,
on.
Fiona.
And Sergio, I can't wait to hear your music.
Yay.
We will be back next week. Alan Committee is on the show next week, and an incredible soprano. I've had so many pop singers and everything. I thought I'm going to go opera next week. So Brittany Smith is on next week. It's going to be a fab show. So do tune in. Until then, have yourself a great week. Bye-bye.